following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, it's Motivational Monday, the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman. And in the first chapter, we're going to have a couple chapters today. In the first chapter, we're going to talk about rescue pets because we need to find out who will rescue me. No, but seriously, there are some challenges. We want to talk to the pet health guru about them. And in the second chapter, I was talking to Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO, who's going to talk about some powerful business strategies, one of which today is about risk reversal and how it can benefit your business. So let's bring on the pipe nuts and the pet health guru.
How you doing today?
I'm great. Okay, so first question I have, Juan, as my trusty engineer.
Sure.
Who's the one with the background noise? It's either Rebel or Pet Health Guru, or maybe you.
That would be the Pet Health Guru.
It's the Pet Health Guru. So let's set his setting to block out background noise. And while we're doing that, I want to take a vote too. Okay? Before we get into serious stuff, I want to take a vote. Which looks better? Rebel. I already know Juan's opinion. Rebel?
Yes.
Okay. This or that?
All right, now you're asking me for... I can't. Try it again.
Okay. Bill, we're going to get your recommendation too. You ready?
What's that? Yeah.
Okay. Look at me on the screen. Which is better? This, where we're at right now, or this?
I didn't even see a difference.
I saw a slight difference that time. Look, the light or something.
Yeah, the light's on right now. It does look better with the light, especially my sunglasses, man. They look really cool with that light, Juan. Like,
it's reflected. You got a reflection on them.
I know it's positively Pipeman, man. But see, the reflection is kind of your banner for you being here. So It's kind of cool. It's like it's subliminal messaging. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. And I think it's very effective because look at Rebel. She's got a big smile on her face. It's already affected her because she needs to be rescued as well. So we're going to talk about rescue pets and the challenges. Now, what kind of challenges can we even, if we've never rescued a pet, how do we know what the challenges are? We probably just think, hey, you just go pick up the pet, go home, and everything's honky-dory after that.
That's one of the biggest challenges that we never think about. People look at it that, okay, I can get a pet relatively inexpensively, and it's just going to be, everything's going to be perfect. What people don't realize is why that animal is in the shelter. And the number one reason, especially with dogs, it's not pet overpopulation. It's not that we have too many and we're just going to rescue. It's because of expenses. Most people cannot afford veterinary care today, and so they dump them. And it boils down to where does this start? Basically, it starts with we know nothing about the parents, especially mom, because obviously they carry mom's blood. How many drugs was she given? Vaccinations, wormings, all that stuff. What kind of garbage food are we feeding? And so the animals coming out of there is being born challenged to start with. And you get your nice cute little puppy or kitten, and you take it to the vet. They give it more and more drugs, more and more preventatives, things of that nature. And the next thing you know, you got $1,000 bill. And it's not uncommon for people to be spending $10, $15, $20,000 a year on medical care for their pets. And when you start reaching that, your middle class family, it's like, I'm sorry, Johnny, we're gonna have to give them back.
Mm.
And now we go through this trauma over and over again. And a lot of that system is designed by the veterinary community, because they're the ones that are insisting that these animals be spayed and neutered, and being shot up, and all the prevention, when they don't actually need most of these treatments.
Wow. And Rebel, you were shaking your head a little bit before. What's your experience?
I'm a firm believer that everybody should really think about before they get a pet. And please, for the love of God, do not just, oh, it's Christmas time, let's go get a pet. That's not the way this works. You need to have a lifelong commitment, your life or their life. And you need to be able to afford and be able to know how to keep their health up. So I personally would tell you to stay away from veterinarians, because unless it's an absolute, like something's broken or something like that, there's a cause for everything. But if you want to keep a healthy pet, talk to the pet guru and let him explain some things that you probably thought you knew, but you really don't.
And you know what, Juan? Our favorite pet, Rebel, that's the best she's ever sounded on this show with that mic. Oh my God. She's finally, after all these years, a radio engineer. Oh my God, it's amazing.
She's almost professional at this point.
So, what strategies or what advice do you have when it comes to these challenges, and whether you should get a rescue pet or not, and what steps you should take?
Well, the first step that you have to take, and this should be whether you're getting it from a rescue or even from a private breeder, helping out a neighbor, whatever. First off, you have to put it in your budget. You know that you're going to have to spend a certain amount of money, for care, health, and all of that. Rescuing is not taking an animal out of a shelter and throwing it in the backyard or even in the house. You should also look at the breed and what the breed requirements are. I mean, I see when we get it here at my Paleo Pet BioComplete, where it's a cute little puppy, but it's going to grow to be 150 pounds, and I live in a one-bedroom apartment with no place to walk the dog. Other breeds like Malinois or Border Collies, things of that nature, working breeds, you better have a place where you can work them and you have the time to work them. Otherwise, they get bored and they destroy your house. That's another big consideration on the whole thing. And of course, then starting out, once you figure out your budget, plan the size dog for that, or cat. Cats are not nearly as much for planning, but and then figure out, actually do your research. Listen to me on Pet Health Cafe on what a species appropriate diet is. I was on a call yesterday with a client with a lot of health challenges, an older elderly woman, and very, very skeptical about anything that's alternative and that sort of thing. And it's just, we can't decide what a species appropriate diet is for a human. I mean, take a look at what we're being told by any number of doctors. You want to be vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, keto, American Standard Diet? We can't decide that. But at least in a carnivore, like a dog or a cat, we know it's supposed to be animals, other animals. That's what they live on. And, if you start out with those basic premises, medically wise, we don't need all the drugs. I mean, let's face it. These animals have been on the earth for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. and as have we. Why do we all of a sudden have to have all these preventatives and all these treatments and everything else and all this testing? The testing is crazy. I saw something this morning that MRIs, for instance, the dye that they put into you are all toxic heavy metals. So I'm looking for the problem, and I'm giving you the problem that you're going to have with your health another year down the road. I mean, it's crazy. It's a system set up for money.
Oh, no doubt about it. Humans and pets. But I think pets even worse. That's why I decided to have kids. Because I started with pets, and they were way too expensive, so I had to go to kids.
Because those were less expensive?
Yeah. They're less, you could go wipe your nose and go back out and play.
I had a client come in, I guess it was on a Friday, and she had her teenage son to the dentist, and her dog has got some gastric problems. And she says, I told them this morning, both of them, you're up for adoption. But it is, because it could be a very expensive proposition. And if you're not psychologically ready for that, it's not uncommon for people to come in. And of course, the way we operate here on a natural basis and that sort of thing. So many of the cancer dogs and other major ailment dogs that basically they've gone the whole allopathic route. They've spent, it's not uncommon, $10, $15, $20,000 on a single problem that never gets fixed. And, all we do is change the diet, a little bit of natural medicine, if you will, or just natural foods, and everything goes away. Tumors literally fall off of animals.
Huh.
So
wow.
It's, you got to be, plan it right from day one. That's the best advice I can give you as far as, the actual process. Insist wherever you can on minimal treatments prior to it. I remember you and I did a pet show years and years ago when we first started, and I interviewed about, 10, 12, 15 different rescues on that show. And at the end, I really got under somebody's skin because I said, your job as a rescue is to do one thing. Take a dog or a pet from a bad place and put it in a good place. You should not be involved in any of this medical stuff, because it's going to be their responsibility for the vet bills after you spay, neuter, vaccinate, treat, all of that. They're creating a situation that makes it's not a rescue anymore. It's I don't even know how to describe it.
And what are the statistics of people that rescue animals and then either return them or let them free? Like I know there's people out there that they'll rescue an animal and they can't handle it. Instead of bringing it somewhere, they just let it go.
There's a large percentage of that. I don't know the actual numbers, but that's just it, because they thought they were doing something good by taking it out of a shelter where it was going to be killed, and then they don't want to take it back there, obviously. The kill shelters, and it's funny because I get this question all the time: is a no kill shelter that I can go to? We'll support them, but right here in Broward County, we have one of the major rescues that claim to be a no-kill shelter, but yet animal control picks up at their back door every single day all the extra animals and puts them to sleep.
Wow. So what's your viewpoint then on people and the difference between somebody rescuing and we'll say dog right now, rescuing a dog, or going and paying big money for these designer hybrids? That's the big fashion trend now.
Yes. Yeah, it's they're nothing but mutts. There's advantages to mixed breeds and that sort of thing, but again, when I'm doing consultation, that sort of thing, and we're looking at the health of the animal. So many of these so-called designer dogs or popular breeds today, they're genetic wrecks. You've got these, Frenchies and the bulldogs and that sort of thing. They can't breathe. They could never survive in the wild because they can't run fast enough to catch anything, first off. And if they ever did, they can't grab onto it because their face is so smushed in. You know, and the same thing is true in the cats. But you know, why do we breed animals that are going to be defective, but they bring an extra, you know, $1,000, $2,000 when they're selling the puppies? I mean, that's
mad science.
Yeah, that's obviously the only benefit. I mean, they want to make more money, and there's no advantage because you can't even guarantee what the breed characteristics are going to be. I mean, you could do a golden doodle, for instance, a golden retriever and a poodle. Both should have very good temperaments, but in many cases they don't. And why is that? Well, of course, a lot of that's tied to nutrition and all this medical treatment in the first place. But you cannot guarantee it anymore. I mean, this is a problem that's been going on. You know, I've been in the business for almost 60 years, and you know, went from health certificates that didn't require any kind of medications to now where every time it changes hands, you have to redo everything. And you know, when you're looking at a procedure, preventive procedure like backs and like, you know, the heart guards and all of that sort of stuff, you're talking about sometimes in the first 3 months of age, 10, 20, 30 medical interventions. And, you know, they're already showing, you know, at 12, 16 weeks of age, you're already seeing the problems in their health. And, you know, it's my job, I guess, to try to fix them again, but that's not always easy.
So what other recommendations do you have for people that are maybe thinking about rescuing a dog now, of the proper way to do it and the proper channels, and why they should consult with you on diet?
Well, we are what we eat, and that's the same is true with all creatures, actually. And in fact, even in the plant world, if you don't tend your garden properly and feed it properly with the natural stuff, nothing's going to grow. Every living thing has a certain protocol that needs to be followed, basically. There's a very broad-based one, you know, that's not, you know, take 3 of these tablets a day and, you know, you're going to be fine. It's all about the challenges that you would actually see in nature. You know, they don't, you know, when we look at animals, grazing animals, especially cattle, bison, that sort of thing, I was reading somewhere that when America had, you know, millions of bison, those bison never stayed in one place. They ate up to, they found so far that they've been able to catalog through remains and stuff, 97 different grasses and vegetation in their journeys, and they never stopped moving. So their body is working fine. They're getting the variety of the diet that they need. That's an important part, that rotation. Today, an average pasture might have 4 different plants on it. That's all our cattle are getting. That's all the bison are getting. That's not a natural animal. You know, when I walk into the supermarket and I look at eggs, vegetarian or vegan fed, okay, chickens are supposed to eat bugs. They're a true omnivore. They eat everything. But yet, how healthy can that animal be if it's already been, you know, given a deficiency? And, you know, and then of course, you know, especially on the food side, then after we harvest, we then treat it with all, you know, so many more chemicals and that sort of thing. So our food is bad, their food is bad as well.
And so tell everybody how they can check out your show, your podcast, you know, all of that good stuff, and how they can also go to the website for My Paleo Pet and everything else that you have to offer.
Yeah, I mean, come visit us at My Paleo Pet. We're down in Pompano Beach, Florida, on Sample Road. We've been in business for 20 years with this particular company, and making our own foods, herbal blends, basically a farm to table store, if you will. I personally go out and visit the farms that we source a lot of our products from to make sure that they are the highest quality, that they're meeting the standards that we've set. And of course, the Pet Health Cafe, where we give you all this advice, running now for almost 18 years. Your second show on your platform. We've been here forever. You can get the replays on YouTube and Spotify and a whole bunch of other platforms, iHeartRadio, and of course right here on your platform. We're there every week. And the live show, of course, is on Thursday nights, from 8 to 9 o'clock at night. And we have a chat room that's open, so you can ask open questions and lead some discussions. I always try to bring in a lot of different topics. It's not always about pets. A lot of the times it's about keeping the pet parents healthy, because that's a very, very important part. And we provide a lot of service. A lot of the topics that I use actually come from in-store questions and consultations that I do, because that's what the hot buttons of the day are.
So, Juan, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Since you're in a relationship now, and any day your significant other is going to ask you to get a pet, what questions do you have for the pet health guru for your future responsibilities as a pet owner coming soon?
Oh, that day already came. We have about 100 guppies.
That's a safe way of doing it.
Yeah. We went the safe route. We don't want pets that roam around the whole house doing their business on the carpet. So
one of the other problems we have with pet ownership, and even our own health, is that usually in a relationship, one party is going to be more homeopathic, holistic, that nature, and the other one is going to be, Dr. Whitecoat. And the conflicts are, incredible. Well, I want to feed real food. Well, no, the vet said I have to feed this garbage in a bag, if you will. So it's an interesting, dynamic that I run across in the store all the time. And it's you got to be persistent. You got to be consistent in what you do as well. You can't try. There is no single pill that solves all the problems. You just work through it the way nature designed it.
And do you find that, going back to those hybrid designer dogs, the people that spend a lot of money on those, do they listen to your advice, or are they the ones that, think because they have this designer hybrid from a respected breeder that they have to get kibble?
The big problem is, of course, convenience. When you're feeding fresh foods, I grew up in an era where my mom cooked every day. Today, I talk to people every day. I never cook for myself. I never cook for my family. Where is my family? I don't even know. And one of the things that I've discussed with a lot of clients over the last few months is the way we eat, the way we feed our animals, with that diversity, with that rotational diet. Back in the day, when you had a family, mom was cooking a different meal every single day. Today, we pick up a pizza every other day, and then we do it every other day because we got leftover from the day before.
So wait a minute. I'm going to be a guest this week on one of our shows, which is a lot about online dating. It's called 50 Shades of Bullshit. And you just made me think of something I'm going to have to talk on that episode about, because literally what you were just saying, I had some female lambaste me on online dating site. Like, all because I said I'm looking for a partner in crime. Oh, you probably are 3 generations behind and want somebody to be at home and cook you 3 meals a day and blah, blah, blah. And went on. But when you said that, I was flashing back to that. I'm like, and she was like really like lambasting me. She didn't even know who I was. It's like, listen, to each his own. But the bottom line is, we were a lot healthier back when we weren't eating garbage all the time.
Well, 90% of the food that's in the supermarket today is not food.
Yeah, and one of the problems with cooking nowadays is that back then, you used to get all the ingredients like seasonings and stuff from like separate condiments. Now they come in a bottle all mixed together already, and they of course add other things on top of everything else, and it makes it easier to cook, but it's also not very good for your health. That's what I'm saying.
And it's so you have to buy more, and so you have to pay vet bills or human bills because they're putting stuff in there. It's all, it's interesting. When I was in my early 20s, Me and my best bro and his girlfriend, who was a longtime friend of mine, I knew her before even him. I got them together. We shared a house together, and she had a dog. It was a Newfoundland, BJ, and she used to cook meals for this dog that Mark and I would wish for. Like, and I'll tell you, she was smart because we were probably giving her shit because, we were on our own and she was cooking the dog a gourmet meal. And then I met you, the pet health guru, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe she was right.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at everything that they put in our food. Imagine what they put in theirs.
It's horrible. There's no food in most of the pet foods. It's all food waste, and it's a way for industry to get rid of their food waste, all the food processors, that sort of thing, anything that's bad. The FDA and the USDA just turn a blind eye to what the big guys want to do. And, we've watched the lifespan of our dogs go from 20 to 30 years down to about 8. And, of course, thousands and thousands of dollars spent on vet bills. The only time I've in the last 30 years that I've even visited a vet was one rescue cat that we had with a broken leg. I just do real food. And the other thing is on everybody says, of course, this was started by the big 3 pet food companies. Never feed your animal your food, people food. They can't have it. No leftovers. Well, we didn't feed our dogs and cats leftovers 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. Mom actually made an extra portion for the animals. It wasn't leftovers. It was by design. And yet, again, the language has been so corrupted, the narrative's been so corrupted that, people they don't know. 50 years ago, I started doing seminars for rescues, actually, and teaching teachers and things of that nature. We had, it was one of the things I kept stressing is, every kid in the United States, every family, at some point in time is most likely to have an animal. About 75-80% by the the records that are out there have an animal, but yet we don't teach their kids in school one thing about how to handle an animal. We don't teach them about how to write a check either, although we don't write checks anymore.
Right. Oh, and speaking about things we don't have anymore, I'm going to tell you about something to end our segment that only you would understand of everybody on here. I'll bet you Rebel doesn't even understand, and Juan definitely won't. Well, he probably does because I already showed it to him. But since we moved studios, I was going through all stuff, and I'm like reorganizing everything, and I found my original tape series for the Carlton Sheets real estate. See, I can see by Rebel's look. She does not have a clue what that is. Okay. And, Juan's just a generation that wouldn't know. But, yeah, this was the infomercial on all the time. And literally, I have it. And it's probably not even open, but the box is all yellow, like an old newspaper would be.
Yeah,
I can sell it on eBay. I even have a VCR tape. Juan saw it, never opened, that I think might be worth money. It's Ozzy Goes to Hollywood. Never opened, in perfect shape. So,
when I was a manufacturer's rep on the road all through the 80s, I mean, having those tape sets for everything from sales to motivation to that's how you lived.
Wait a minute. I had a box in storage. I brought in, cassette tapes. They were Amway tapes, a whole box. I'm telling you, it was a huge box of Amway tapes right now, most of them are stacked on the conference table in front of the desk here, where I'm going to be going through and reorganizing. And I do have a cassette player. So Automobile University, like, I wonder if I can use my, my cord, my USB-C cord, to hook into my cassette player to play it in the car.
That'd be
Look forward to
interesting.
that.
Okay, so I have to show you one other thing next week. I also have the Dean K. Piper seminars on cassette that I found. I'll have to remember to use that as a prop for next week. Okay. But anyway, any clues yet what you want to talk about next week, Bill?
Not yet. It depends on what comes up this week. We're just starting out. I'm sure I'm going to get something.
I have
really
an
off the wall.
idea. I have an idea. It would be next week that we would do it. Hold on, let's see. 17th. No. Maybe the following week, the 24th. I think we should do a show on should you give your pet Thanksgiving dinner?
That's always a good one. We usually do something on that.
All right. Well, there it is. We have a plan. And probably chapter 2 of that podcast will be, should we give Rebel dinner for Thanksgiving?
God.
What did you do this week? You looked a lot better last week, Rebel.
Well, see, someone complained about last week's.
I think you were eating the My Paleo pet food last week, and this week you're just back to kibble. Well, Bill, always a pleasure. You are such a wealth of information about pets. I am thankful because my April lasted a lot longer than she should have. She's not with us now, but
Right.
And she was certainly not a designer dog. And I figured out too with her why pugs have those smushed in faces, because she used to always run and at full speed at the wheels of cars driving by, and literally it looked like she stopped short, like just a millimeter away, but maybe what was really happening, and over time and genetics, is you're just bouncing off that wheel.
Bouncing off it. Yep.
She did, though. Oh, it used to scare us every single time. You couldn't stop her. She went into lightning bolt mode, and literally right up, nose up to the wheel. I'm showing my age. I almost wanted to say hubcap.
One of those.
You remember when you drive down the road and all of a sudden what hubcap was flying at you? That was because of April. So everybody, okay, the Pet Health Guru will be back again next week on the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman. But right now, we're going to segue. But first, before we do, we have a commercial to play. Don't we, Juan?
We sure do. Here we go.
All right, let's roll it.
The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
Now, by the way, we are giving away free tickets to that festival. And I have an idea. Maybe I should give the free tickets to people's pets, and we could start a pet mosh pit. What do you think about that, Bill?
That would be interesting. I think that's what a lot of the doggy daycares already are, though.
Yeah, you probably are right. So, but seriously, you can't bring your pet. But if you have a pet, you can go to Pipeman Radio on all socials, DM me, and you will be entered to win tickets to Sonic Temple for 2026. And and maybe we'll also do. Maybe we should do like a rescue drive, like everybody turn in a food drive. Everybody turn in your kibble so we can destroy it all and give real food for pets out.
That sounds like a great idea.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay. You're going to run that in Louisiana, Rebel. Meanwhile, now we're going to go to some powerful business strategies. We're going to get rid of everybody here and bring on Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO, and he's going to give us some powerful business strategies about risk reversal. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, you're listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio with my Positively Pipeman segment. And once again, we're going to have our resident expert talk about some powerful business strategies. So let's welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Great to be here again. So today I want to talk about something that business owners, I don't know why they're hesitant, although I have 3 reasons later on why I think they're hesitant. But it's a strategy that works very well. It's because the customer doesn't want to look like a fool, doesn't want to make a mistake, doesn't want to be embarrassed with their spouse, but it's called a risk reversal. And what a risk reversal does is it transfers the risk from the customer to the seller. And it makes it easier for the customer to say yes to your offer. So, and what happens is business owners, one of the things they think about is they think that they're going to get a lot of returns, or that customers are not, their customers are going to take full advantage of the business owner, because that's all customers do, is they take full advantage and they try to get as much out of it as humanly possible, even if it means, returning everything and getting double their money back, or whatever the risk reversal happens to be. That's not the case. And I can tell you a quick story. When I was in the ski business, the problem the customer had at the ski industry is they really never knew if the ski they were being sold was the right ski for them until they got it up in the mountain and tried it out. And so we implemented what we called a ski guarantee. Ski the ski 3 times. You don't like it, bring it back for a brand new pair, and keep bringing it back until we get it right. And the result was 8,000 pair of skis sold, a 25% increase from the previous year, and only 8 came back, because all people wanted was a great ski experience. And all people want is whatever your product or service delivers, to have a great experience with it. That's it. Sure, there's going to be a couple people who might take advantage of it, but you're dealing with the law of large numbers, which means your entire customer base, out of your entire customer base, believe me, only a very small percentage are going to take advantage of the offer. And what I find is when I present this to clients, they're really hesitant. But there's 3 reasons why a business owner resists doing a risk reversal. Number 1, they're not confident in their product or service or their quality, which is a big problem if that's the case, because you have to be in a position where, relative to how confident you are about your product, that it's your obligation to sell that product to that customer, because you offer the best, period, for them. And if you're not that confident with your product or service, then I can understand why you're not doing a risk reversal. The other thing is, business owners don't really understand the mathematics involved in the value of the long-term value of a customer. And when you understand the long-term value of a customer, and you understand that the risk reversal is going to convert more of those customers into sales, then not only do you have more sales today, but the future value of that customer is now in play, and you're going to increase the value of that customer. So it's incredibly valuable once you get a customer, because once you get a customer, there's a lifetime value component to it. They're going to order again and again and again. And because of that, the risk reversal is an outstanding strategy, because you're going to convert more people to say yes to your offer. And then the third reason why business owners resist risk reversals is they're thinking like employees instead of strategic business owners. And let me tell you, when I presented my ski guarantee to my staff, they thought I was out of my mind, because they had visions of thousands of pair of skis coming back and us losing a ton of money and it'll never work. And boy, we'll lose our shirt. But that didn't happen at all. That the mindset of a business owner is, number one, the competition may not be in position to do it. By the way, my competitors never, ever copied me on that. They never did.
Wow.
Yeah, they never did. But the competition is going to either be slow to the draw, because you're going to be first doing it, or they're not going to have the logistical positioning to do it. They might not have or the mindset themselves to do it. But that's thinking like a business owner, and thinking like a business owner is knowing that all you're doing is giving the customer a great experience, because your product or service is superior. And if you don't think your product or service is superior, that's big trouble.
That's why they didn't compete with your competitors didn't follow suit with you.
I know they were afraid to do it, and they didn't know how great we were doing with it. Although, rumors do get out. Unfortunately,
they do.
In a lot of businesses, they do, especially within an industry. And so the fact that we were doing well didn't drive them, motivate them to copy it. And it was a simple thing to copy. It didn't really take much of a logistical thing, other than how do you handle a return, which is kind of commonplace anyway.
Well, that's why so many companies, especially when you see ads on TV or on the radio, or, even a lot of speakers do it, they always have that 30-day guarantee. And they have that 30-day guarantee because they're confident that you're not going to return.
Absolutely. No, there's no question about it. But that's the big hang up that we business owners have. We're just thinking that all the customer's going to do is utilize the ski. Because with my ski guarantee, they could ski the ski, I don't know how many times. They could ski the T 10 times and bring it back, and I wouldn't know it, right?
Right.
So, what they could have done is every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, bring it back and try something else, because skiers love to try different skis. And so they could have done that. But all they wanted was the great ski experience with the skis that they had. If it was right for them, great. It made their experience better, and we did our job.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just amazing how business owners are afraid to use that strategy, and it's an outstanding strategy. The customer is saying to themselves, "I don't want to look foolish here," or I don't want to have to explain to my spouse how I got taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
So these are the things that are going through the mind of the customer. They want to make sure that they're not being taken, and that that the product is going to deliver what it says it will deliver.
Absolutely. So how do people reach out to you, get more information on this and other things that you do to give them powerful business strategies?
Well, what we do, Dean, we do something a little different than most companies. What we do is we are always looking to update our book with new and different ideas. And so what we do is it's called a book interview. And basically it's 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies for my book. And then I ask the interviewee, I ask them, if a business owner were to implement this strategy that I just presented, what impact would it have to a business in your industry? and then I document it for the book. And by the way, if I like some of their quotes, I actually put the quote in the book along with their name and company name if they want that. And sometimes they want to be anonymous, but so it gives them a little exposure as well. But more importantly, they'll learn business strategies that their competition isn't doing. So to ask for a book interview, just go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out that contact form. In the message section, write the word book interview, and I'll send you a calendar link to schedule. And it's as simple as that.
Beautiful. I love it. Once again, a wealth of knowledge that can help business people be successful and profitable. They need to make sure to tune in next week also to the Positively Pipeman segment with you as our expert, giving some powerful business strategies that next week we're going to talk about a cash collection strategy. So make sure to tune in. And thanks, Michael, for once again being the expert that you are.
Thank you, team. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.